Check the method. What do you think of this?
Bitch, I'm hitting these 20s like nothing. Thunder and lightning still back in my column. You know that I couldn't be bluffing. Wait it out. I still haven't seen all the shit you've been bragging about. I'm on the wizard shit. You're giving quests in the crowd. Run it back. I've been in this game. I know how to talk to the rest. Getting stacked. All of the spells that I'm hitting is slap. Burning king. All of your treasures fall into my lap. My potions could kill you, bitch, cause your ass ain't strapped.
Check the method.
Land. What are you doing here? Is I forest?
What do you think of this?
Alright, good morning. Sorry for the late start. Just dealing with some stuff. Oh. Oh. Oh, I might have... Loki, get out of my way! Oh my god. Ugh. Alright. Is that... Loki just like plopped his face. Like, plopped himself like right in front of me at my desk. Anyway. Stupid mic cable. Audio scuff. Oh yeah. Okay. Alright. Where... Oh, there we are. Oh. There we go. There we go. Loki, go. Just go. Go. Being such a menace today. Oh my god. Outside is evolution standing by. One in a million's just a drone. Amassed in crowds, you're still alone. The last of its kind is the one with the mind of its own. Okay, so we're gonna keep going with this. We got a lot of cleanup to do from yesterday. But we got our thing working, right? It's still working, I hope. Oh yeah, we have the absolutely gigantic absolutely gigantic scaling on the legs there. You can see like a little tiny bit of the torso up at the top there, and peaks down. Okay, so yeah, we're doing the leg. Yeah, the leg. Gaze upon the leg. Okay. Right. What are we doing? We have to do UI work, because we have to take all that hard-coded crap that we just added, and all the little fix-me's and testing thing, and we gotta make UI for that. This is gonna be a UI work day, which is like, not my favorite thing, but it'll do. So, let's see, what we added some stuff that I don't think we need anymore. Also, we can go back to the notes. That's already out of date. Okay, cool. Costume skeleton, costume, blah, 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 blah. Scale unapplier. I think we need to change the name of this. Because this is currently costume skeleton scaling unapplier. I don't like the name of that. Oops. Let's say costume skeleton foot placement modifier. Costume skeleton leg scaling compensation. Hey Nova, how's it going? Hey, do you want to see the thing that I was working on? Hang on a second. Let me get the thing. Where did we put the temporary hard-coded leg scaling? Does anyone remember? Here, let's change this to the walk animation more here. Was that in costume skeleton? It couldn't have been. It is actually in costume skeleton. Okay. Let's get rid of all the scaling. Bam. Okay, so here's what we got. We can add like individual like parts of a character and stuff, and then once we turn on the animation, it doesn't actually matter which one you select in here right now because it's kind of borked. But walk.glb/walk. There's no walk animation. That's what? Just give me a second. Let's go back to our derpy run animation then. There we go. There's our really bad run animation. And let me get the feet. Let's get all this stuff in here. There we go. We got the feet in. What is this one? Okay, yeah, we don't need test different topology. Yeah, so there we go. We got the feet. If we went in and just like changed up the skeleton in costume skeleton, right? Yeah, if we change up the scale, we're gonna adjust the scale of the thighs, just the thigh bones, and what we get is this. And this might not look like much, but I'm really proud of it because what we just did there was we changed the scale of the legs, and the animation still works and is still like placing the feet correctly. And we can mix the scales, so let's go ahead and say the shin is, let's go 0.5, so it'll be back to its original size. Reset that. And we got these little tiny leggies down here. And these really big thighs. My goodness, those are big thighs. It's leg day, yeah. Let's go tiny. Let's make a little gremlin of a character. And there we go. Now we got the foot placement there. So yeah, without this modifier, let's just short circuit for a second the process function, and we'll see what it does without that. Oh, it doesn't apply the bone scaling at all. Hold on a second. There we go. Yeah, so without adjusting the size of those bones, we get this instead, right? Now it's floating up in the air because the hips are still in the same position, but the legs are now short. The hips are the root bone here. So let's go ahead and go back to those being doubled. Jeez. Also, I don't know if you've seen this this wonderful Jodot add-on that I'm using called Ridiculous Coding. We're almost at a level up. Anyway, let's go ahead and put that back in. So now without that add-on, the hips again still have the location or the offset from the original animation, but and now with the legs are going through the ground because the hips are in the same position and the legs are just longer, right? So yeah, if we bring that back, then it's fixed. Isn't that cool? I think it's neat. We're doing some very, very light, like, runtime animation retargeting for skeletons with different bone scales. And this is going to be great because it means that when I want to make like a little gremlin or goblin character or something, you know, I can adjust the proportions of that very easily. Oh, don't look at that. Hang on a second. Oh, thank goodness, there's nothing on there. Right. I didn't realize I still had that up. Yeah, okay. It was just showing the entryway from the Battlesnakes HQ. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we make like a little cool little gremlin character, and have whatever animations that we want. Bone scaling playing nice with the animations isn't even an issue I would have anticipated. It's not going to work for all bone scaling, so imagine like you have a character that's like shouldering a rifle or something with like hands at very specific positions. If you scale up the arms, that hand is now going to be like... The hands are now going to end up in different places, unless you're doing like extra IK stuff on top of that. This just fixes the feet though. Alright, I saw something in that, it's called scalingonaplier.gd. I think we can probably come up with a better name than that. Maybe costume skeleton leg scaling compensation. Costume skeleton leg scaling compensation. Neat! And then this isn't doing anything. It's very important that it happens after the animation player, though, so it's set to process priority as 1. Good that there won't be unintentionally floating characters. Yeah, I think so. So yeah, now we have like systems of we got to do systems of like animation swaps and all kinds of other stuff. We're now kind of unblocked on continuing to move forward with this system. Some things. Oh wait, bad thing remove me. Okay, that's probably not being used anywhere, right? Yeah. So this is a failed attempt at doing a different kind of math for that. Goodbye. This still needs to be pre-calculated when the scale properties change instead of every frame. Which would make this a lot faster. It's right now it's really slow. All right, well, let's do that. Oh, the bone scales. We can't actually react to the bone scales changing. We can't react to the bone scales changing because it's going to be modified inside of that dictionary. It's not actually going to be resetting that variable, though. It's going to be pointing to the same dictionary, but they're going to be modifying stuff inside of that. And as far as I'm aware, I don't think we can react to that being changed, except for like we could cache a copy of it and compare that dictionary. Okay, we're not doing this automatically. Is what I think I'm saying here. Or we could just have like set bone scales and get bone scales as like, yeah, okay, we'll just do that. Var, or is it func set bone scales. New bone scales. Hey, I leveled up, nice. Bone scales for new bone scales. We're gonna have func get bone scales. Turns that, and we're just gonna turn bone scales. This still means that someone can modify get the dictionary and then modify it. Or modify it after they've already set it. Well, I know one way to ban that forever. There we go. It's gonna be a little bit slower, but it's a cleaner interface, so yeah. Okay, and then voodoo calculate average. Actually, this isn't. Hold on. This modifier isn't just for the leg scaling competition. This handles all of this, the bone scaling. Which means that we should probably name it completely differently from that, too. Pre-calculate average leg length. So I think what we're going to do is this. We're going to name it... First, we're gonna fix up all the borked parts. Nope, these aren't used anymore. Recalculate average leg length, var average leg length. I'm gonna say 1 meter by default. Oops. Average length of the leg in the rest pose. Duplicate my leg bone scales. Okay, so we're going to do average leg length equals get like average length. Wait, get like scaling average? Get like average. Just gotta put that after we actually do the change. To get leg average length. We're gonna change this to calculate leg average length. That way you know it's doing math, and it's slow. So we got average leg length, and then later on, down here... Oh my god, we were doing it twice. Oh wait, get leg scaling average. That's the one that we needed. Yep. So the thing here is that it has to like set everything back to the rest position, calculate the average, set it to the scaled stuff, calculate the average, and then restore every like all the transforms that were there, like to not like change stuff. Which is like expensive, so we only want to do that when things actually change there, because otherwise it's gonna be returning the same value anyway, right? Average leg scaling. Also, this is gonna break entirely if you give it like multiple total bone scaling. Alright, we can probably get rid of total bone scaling and just replace it with average leg scaling. Get rid of that variable, hop back to the character editor, or to the costume skeleton, and then we are going to say unapplier.set bone scales. Still gotta fix this name here. Alright, please tell me I didn't break anything. I believe I did break things, because now we're back to the... Yep, that's not good. Crap. Hey, Artisan. What did I do? Oh, I think the applying the bone scaling was actually incidental to some of the stuff that we were doing there. So we should probably do that here. Apply bone scaling. Yeah, there we go. Oh, but now it's broken. No! Frick. Total bone scaling. Total bone scaling. That's wrong. Oh, time to revert all the changes that I just made. Yep. Actually, wait a minute. We just need to change... We just need to change the stuff that we did right. Let's just recalculate average leg scaling everything. Average leg scaling equals calculate leg scaling average. There we go. Now we're on the ground. I think we're doing it too early here. Get skeleton, agile on applier, blah 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 blah. Oh, maybe not. So it is actually being added as a child there. Why are we... Okay, 0.5 looks basically like the scale that we set, right? I just had a thought about how this might break, actually. Hang on a second, let me think about that. If we were trying to do like a spider character, like a little leg that goes up and then down. We wouldn't necessarily want to... Song feels spicy, yeah. Oh, this is... Sorry, we might have to change this one. This is the 22-minute long song in order just at the beginning. I think... And it goes all over the place. I think I was actually going to remove this one from the playlist. I think I'm going to skip to the next one. I'm sorry. But if you want, the song is called Sludge by Violet Pony. It's off the Monarch of Monsters album. This isn't Winamp. This is Audacious with a Winamp skin. There we go. I can use Winamp skins, so I'm just using the base Winamp skin, because why not? This equalizer isn't actually active right now. Okay, so why is this not working? What's the difference between it calculating the average leg scaling? Dude, chill, please. What's the difference between it calculating the average leg scaling during the process function and right up here? Why is this different? It gets the bone scales, which is pretty much the only thing that would be affecting the average... Wait, we got errors. Okay, which setting the bone scales would be the only thing that would actually change the calculation here. Oh, because we used average leg length and not average... Not scaling average. Okay, that would do it. There we go. Fixed. Nice. Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead and test our, like, my little hypothesis here. I have a feeling that if we made a leg that here, let me draw this out, even though I don't have my tablet running right now. But where's the line tool? Line tool? There you are. Excuse me. So you have the hips right here. Ooh, that's a highlighter. And then imagine you have like leggies that go like this. Boop, 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 boop. Don't die. I'm trying not to. I'm trying to do my best. Ugh. Now in this case, so we're basically like we're scaling this distance right here. Let's say this is the distance to the ground. These are little feet. Here at the bottom. We're scaling this distance based on the ratio between... Wait. Actually, we're taking the distance from this to this. So like that distance right there. Same for this one. We're going from here to here. We're taking that distance. I should use different colors for this. I should probably also use my tablet, but I know it would take too many tries to get it running. Okay, let's go with blue. So yeah, the distance that goes from here to here, and here to here, and we're taking the average of that distance. And so what we would end up with is probably a vector that ends up looking like this. Which is how we would then, and then we would compare that to the scaled version. So that might actually be okay. But it would mean that the legs have to be basically, have to have the kind of like the center sort of averaged. We need to test this with different rigs. Okay, that crashes. We're gonna have to test our ability to have alternative skeletons already. So the question is, should I make this just? I could probably fix this by just calculating everything on just the y-axis in Jodot, right? Instead of doing this weird thing with the average, and then we'd only affect the vertical offset. But I feel like there's some other things that we want to adjust in the hip position relative to like forward and backward based on leg length. But as long as the foot placement is okay, and I don't think we're not gonna have like really extreme like we're not gonna have like really extreme versions of this stuff. It's just gonna be, you know. All right, let's go ahead and we're gonna go save as. Let's call this spider test. So we're gonna modify the entire rig. Get rid of that animation. I'm gonna hide the mannequin. We're gonna modify the rig, and we're gonna do like a kind of weird, creepy spider-looking thing. So and have these legs out in front, and then these are gonna come back down like this. And I already screwed it up because I wasn't getting the other leg in there. So I'm gonna have that. This is gonna go forward, and this is gonna go down. This is gonna go up. And then we're gonna do. Let's see. Let's turn on symmetrical editing here. Boop, boop, boop. There we go. Now, same for the arms. The arms are gonna be. We're gonna repurpose the arms to be the other. Yeah, we're gonna repurpose the arms to act as other legs right now instead of actually. You know what? No, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna. Oh god, it's still applying that animation. We're gonna rename these. This looks so weird. We're gonna go and call it. So we're gonna try to do a quadruped. Front.thigh.l. Front chin. Front foot. Toe. There's like a way to bulk rename this stuff in there. Front. Oh, thank you, Sabine. Love you too. Okay, So we got all the bones named for the front. We're gonna duplicate them, scale them backwards, all that stuff. So Shift D, duplicate, bloop, and scale y-1. Okay, that didn't exactly work, but scale? Why are you? Oh, there we go. Scale y-1. Bam. Oh, did you just give a hydrate? Did I not do that? I can't remember. Alright. So now we're gonna have rear.phi.r. Just gonna copy that. There's like a bulk bone renaming thing in Blender, right? Rename batch rename. Find front dot. Replace with rear dot. Renamed 0 out of 1 objects. Batch bone. Batch rename. Frick. Yep, alright, we're doing it manually. Can't you just like batch rename bones? This is silly. This is a long way to test a very silly idea. But, you know, it's important to be able to support, like, you know, monster girls and stuff. As a monster girl, I need to be able to support monster girl anatomies for my modular character system. Also, you know, quadruped armored cores, like, just, yeah, it's all kinds of things. We're getting both monster girls and mechs working by doing this. Okay, we should probably make a mesh that's actually skinned to it so we can see the stuff in the editor. So we're gonna do a. I'm just gonna add a cube. And then we're going to add a. We're gonna move it, and then we're gonna add a mirror modifier. Generate mirror. Whoop. No. It's gonna make all the stuff, and then we'll assign bones and stuff later. Centipede girls? Sure, why not? I wonder what a back massage from a centipede girl would feel like. I think that would feel pretty cool. I know what I'm drawing for the next art stream. Okay, you know what? I think we're just gonna do the leggies, and we're gonna have these just extend all the way to the ground for the sake of this. Yep. Alright, and then a cube. Oops. Cube. And we'll just map this onto the spine. So this will be spine. And then we have to do all of these ones individually. There's gonna be front.thigh.l is gonna be this one. Front.shin.l. Rear.shin.l. Rear.thigh.l. Added form armature, select that. We didn't quite get that. It's rear.thigh.l. Thigh.l. There we go. And that's working. I'm gonna go ahead and hide all this other stuff that we're not using. There we go. Okay, so yeah, the reason that it's moving the other side also is because we need to make mirrored groups. We don't actually have to assign that stuff. We just need to make it so that the mirror modifier can pick that up. So front.thigh.r. Front.thigh.l. Spider Girls? I like Spider Girls. That's being probably not that much of a fan, but sorry. Front.shin.r. Rear.thigh.r. Rear.shin.r. Save all that, see what we got. Whoop. Cool. 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 The wild thing is this because we kept a bunch of other stuff at the original position, we can actually probably still use some of the original model parts for this. Even though we completely changed the shape of the lower torso and everything, and the rigging on it. And that's one of the intents, is to be able to have like portable parts across different like shaped characters and stuff. So if I have a skeleton of a Lamia girl, I should still be able to use the same head that I use on a human character for that, you know? Or a Drider or whatever. Oh. So let's get that exported. I never find GLTF in this list. There it is. Alright, so this is going to be... I guess this will go into feet. Spider legs. Make sure we check the mesh apply modifiers and include only selected objects. Still need to figure out how to use the export presets and stuff. We'll figure that out eventually. Alright, let's go ahead and export just the skeleton now. File, export. We don't have to animate this necessarily to get an idea of whether or not this is going to work. Skeletons, spider skull, sure. Export, selected, apply modifiers, blah 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 blah. Okay. Now, in theory, we should be able to hit go on that. Switch to spider skull. And then turn on spider legs. And we can't actually tell if the skeleton's selected. Well, okay, there we go. Because the animations aren't are only the hip animation is actually matches to the the other skeleton. we can see it doing that. So we are going to add that. But also the bone scaling. We're gonna have to change the names used in the leg length leg length calculation for this to work. So we're gonna have to hard code some stuff for just a second before we add an actual UI for it. So yeah, first thing first, let's add an animation. Let's call it spider dash loop. And it doesn't have to be anything like too wild. We'll start off. Excuse me. We'll start off with I don't know how to animate a spider walking, unfortunately, so I'm gonna screw this up pretty bad. We're gonna do this. This is gonna be our first frame. I guess this leg would be forward. We need to add hip offset to make sure this is working, is the thing. So let's go ahead and actually just move hips down a little bit. I'll make this a nice extreme looking pose for that. Just kind of really extend all those leggies out. This is gonna look so janky. Okay. Alright, cool. I'm actually gonna hide everything that we're not using. Alright. Bam. Alright, we're gonna do copy pose, and then we're gonna go up a few frames and say paste flipped. We're gonna insert those keyframes, and now we have a little shuffle. But in the middle of that shuffle, we need to have everything go up. Boop. Oops. Boop, like that. The hips offset. The whole point of this of this thing that we're doing. That's gonna go up right in the middle. So we're gonna go whoop whoop, right? Pretty basic walk cycle for a spider. Is that more of a shuffle than anything else, but and that's totally not how spiders walk too. That's just whatever. It's fine. It's fine. It doesn't matter. I have a lot to learn about character animation, okay? But hey, we're actually doing it, so I'm learning on stream. I'm embarrassing myself on stream for it. Alright, let's go ahead and export that as a GLB. And we're gonna dump that into the animations directory. Call it Spider Walk. Spider Walk 1? No, Spider Walk. Alright, let's hop back into Jodot and see what we got going in the editor now. So we'll be able to select it, but we won't be able to spider scale. It's still going to just show the walk animation when we do it, because we actually have that hard-coded, and it doesn't actually matter what we selected there. It's cool. That should be the names of everything, right? Animation not found. Spiderwalk.gold/spiderwalk. Gotta deal with some log spam. Okay. Hips offset. Be gone, log spam. Okay, we go spider skull, and then we're gonna add spider walk. Spiderwalk.gld/spiderwalk. There it is, right in the thing. Hey, look at that. Okay, so as you can see, it's moving up and down, but we haven't applied any of the scaling yet, and we haven't set the actual bones yet. But just to prove that the rest of this works, if we actually add the mannequin in, check that out. Is that cool or what? I wonder where the mannequin's legs. Yeah, so it's still modular. In fact, I bet we can add the flailing arms to this, and it would probably work just fine. But we'd have to reset up the animation blending and stuff. It'd probably play okay on top of that, I bet. All right. So let's fix up the legs, which we're gonna temporarily hard code, because right now this is how those chains are calculated. Got a little fix me hard coded bone names right there. We're going to change that, and we're gonna make it so that it is we're gonna calculate 4 offsets and take the average. Farms dot. Oh, it goes all the way down to the heel. We should have named the heels. Damn it. Crap. We'll just use the toe. Because I think we did at least you named the toe, right? Yeah, we did. The sky erupts in light. So we're going from the thigh bones down to the toe bones. We're gonna change. Oops. Let's see. I want to replace a string in that. Whatever. That works. We've had that before, and let's see. When we start, Smecko and Spidery Quadruped. I am making quadruped characters as a way to test my animation system. Spider leggies and spider walk. Okay, we're still good there. Alright, let's try scaling those bones. I think that goes in... We still have that hard-coded inside of Costume Skeleton, right? Is torn, it's tempted, screaming for shelter from the storm. I can barely see as the sky erupts in warm. Alright, let's try this. It actually works! It's called ridiculous coding. I like it. I think it's funny. Yeah, check that out. Even with the legs going up and then down, it's still functioning. Nice. Oh. Let's try scaling them up. And then we'll try scaling up, and we'll try mixing the scale too. Awesome. Awesome, 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 awesome. Alright, let's try mixing the scales now. We're gonna go with smaller thighs. Oops, smaller thighs. And... yeah, smaller thighs. There we go. But bigger shins. 0.5, and so this is actually going to cancel out in a way. Oh, we are clipping through the ground a little bit now. So it's not perfect. On the other hand, oh, we're clipping through the ground a little tiny bit normally anyway. That seems like a lot more, though. Let's crank it up ridiculously. It's a bit weird. That is not the thing that we are concentrating on at the moment. So it's still clipping through the ground a little bit. You know what? Let's adjust that animation so there's no clipping through the ground, so we'll know for sure. Which means that we just have to adjust the hips offset a little tiny bit throughout the entire thing. Sorry about the background noise. Oh, whoops. We should not be inserting keyframes for everything else. We should just be inserting keyframes for this one. Alright, there we go. Alright, how bad is our animation? Oh my god, it's all jittery and stuff. I'm not sure what I expected by doing things that way. We should have added inverse kinematics. I'm gonna do that just for the stupid test. Yeah, I do. All this, alright. Target dot front dot. It's gonna be at leg dot target dot front dot L. And duplicate that over to oh wait, that was front.r. Whoops. Wait, that's rear.r. Yeah. Rear R, rear L. Okay, so this is leg target dot rear dot L. And this one is leg target dot rear dot R. So yeah, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take these. We're gonna bake an animation with them. These are not gonna be something that's doing like real time, any amount of like real time IK. So it'll be fine. Let's see. This is now front.r. We already have front.r, front.l. Okay, cool. And then we have to set up all the individual IK chains, that's gonna be pretty easy, I think. It's gonna be go there, full target, not worried about that. We're gonna have to adjust the like the size of the bone and stuff. So maybe let's do that. Go and hop back into edit mode. We're just gonna have the we should add them to the foot bones instead of the shin bones. Inverse kinematics, target, bam. Add constraint, inverse kinematics, target, bam. Add constraint, inverse kinematics, target, bam. That was on the toe bone, that was not the one that we wanted that on. Inverse kinematics, target, bam. Nope. Go. And last one. Add bone constraint, inverse kinematics, target, bam. Okay, these are all... This is gonna be a problem because if we move these now, it's gonna actually like tug the entire model around. It's gonna be affecting the hips and all that stuff. The hips themselves, we want that to be the root bone. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back and adjust all the chain lengths in all of these to be 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there we go. So chain length is 3 on all of them. Take all these, 3, and then say copy to selected. Alright, and now, when we move these, they should only affect the individual thing. Though maybe we want it to affect the hips. I don't know. Probably not. Let's add a hips target. And the hips are basically just gonna like the spine is just gonna copy a location from this, so nothing too wild there. Add bone constraint, copy location, object. I think we can do copy rotation on that also. Add bone constraint, copy rotation, bam. Oh! This kills the spider. No. No, we'll stick to this, I guess. But yeah, if we move this around, it will not in fact work, as I've just found out. Copy location. Oh no, we don't want the rig there. We want the hips target. There we go. So if we move this around, bam, 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 bam. Cool. In fact, we could probably get away with just having like an animation like this. We can't do any rotation on it right now, but that's okay. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make a new animation, or call it dance. Dance loop. And here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna turn on auto keying. I'm gonna go over to the timeline, turn on auto keying, and I'm gonna hit play, and I'm gonna wiggle it around. And then what it did is it recorded my animation. Hooray! Stick bug? Yeah, get stick bug. Alright, cool. Let's go ahead and export. The export will be, we'll call this spider dance. And I think this should be all that we need. Now, I'm noticing that like we managed to get a pretty good art like pipeline going on here so far with the way this is functioning. All right, let's do the test without any of the scaling. So we'll hop into here. We gotta set that hard coded animation again. Spider dance slash. And in theory, that should be all that we actually need. So let's get the spider, we'll get the mannequin in. Oh, I just realized why the legs weren't showing. Amazing. The reason the legs weren't showing was, oh god. Okay. Alright, now we have a problem. Oh boy, look at all those errors. Wait, we forgot to set the skeleton. That was an interesting thing though. Like I wasn't really prepared for that failure case yet. So when you turn on the spider legs, everything screws up until we actually select the right skeleton, which is kind of to be expected. But oh, thank you for adding depth to the stream. How's it going? And then if we add the spider walk, Oh wait, sorry, the spider dance. Where's spider dance? Why is spider dance not in the list? It's because the armature doesn't have an animation called spider dance. That's interesting. Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, we only moved the IK thing around a bunch. We didn't actually get any animations on. I wonder if we have to bake it somehow. Because we do have... It's interesting that it's showing me the transform for the hips target and the dance loop animation. If we just add like a keyframe, let's just add like a keyframe in there for a dance loop animation. Oh, now it shows up. Pose transforms, does it? Let's add a keyframe on something that's not actually moving. Okay, now we have an animation called dance. Let's also inspect these options a little bit. We got transform. We got data, scene graph, material armature. Animation data. They're down at the bottom. Okay, animation mode, actions. Active actions merged. All the currently assigned actions become one GLTF animation. That's probably what we're looking for. Bake all objects and animations. Force exporting animations on every object can be useful. Okay, I think that's what we want. We want to do that. Yeah, so only selected objects, blah, 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 blah. Spider dance, overwrite. Let's give that a shot. Hey, Fukesoft. Ow. Thank you for the hydrate. Alright, let's try this again. So, skeleton, spider skull, and spider legs, and spider dance. Oh! Oh, it looks so fluid. Oh my god. That's actually really cool. That's really cool. Let's add the animation, the mannequin on top of it. All right. Let's go ahead and set those leg scales and see if it still stays on the ground. I'm gonna try something nice and simple first. We're just gonna go half scale for... Oh. Half scale for all of them. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. Let's try double scale. So there is some clipping through the ground right here. I don't think it happens in the original animation. Oh, no, it does. Okay, it actually does clip through the ground. Still. Despite our best intents, it still in fact does clip through the ground. But I feel like the amount of ground clipping that we're seeing here is actually pretty much the same that we're seeing, like right here, right? Alright, let's try the mixed scale. Ooh, that's very clipping through the ground, but that's also very, very large, so, yeah. There's some ground clipping going on there. So if we do this, I think we might end up with the hips actually going through the ground. Oh yeah, look at that. So the length of the thigh being long enough will just can also just make the shin go directly through the ground. Just because of the shape of the animation. I think that's probably only going to be an issue, like a really big issue, with these kind of leg shapes. I think legs where it's predominantly like pointing straight down will probably be just fine for. But this is also kind of like a really, really contrived case where we took the legs and decided to go with a different, like, scale the shins and the thighs differently, and also like did half the length on one of them. If we just do the thighs, you know, if we double the thighs, oh wait, that's the wrong one. If we just double the thighs, I think we're still pretty good, right? Yeah, that is pretty dang stable, all things considered. Like I said, it punches through the ground a few times, but like, should we just try doing a different animation for it, maybe? Something where I don't intentionally, like, punch the ground? Alright, yeah, let's do that. Alright, new animation. Dance to... switch this one to dance to loop. And we're going to do the same thing that we did before, but we're going to be a little bit more careful about it, so it doesn't punch to the ground anymore. We're just kind of like wiggle up here. We're not going to do right. So yeah, again, we're going to turn on auto keyframing. Let's just, can we just do that out here? Auto key. Yep. Gotta go all the way back to the timeline. And then hit play, and then kind of whoop, 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 whoop. And we can wiggle down a little bit. Boop, 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 boop. Nothing too extreme. We do have a lot of hips movement, which is good. That's what we want. Let's see how much that actually goes to the ground. Yeah, basically doesn't click to the ground at all, except a little bit on the corners. That's what we're looking for. Let's go ahead and save this, and then we'll go ahead and export. File, export. I was a hard time finding that. Spider Dance. We're gonna use the same settings as we just had. Oh. Change the name of that hard-coded animation to Dance 2. Hit go. And spider leggies. Nope. Spider skull. And there's no Dance 2 animation? Station in my mind. Oh, where'd my animation go? Dance 2 loop. It's like we actually need something in the action. Here, let's just add another keyframe for the head. Bam. Because the head doesn't change in this one. Alright, file, export, GLB, blah 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 blah, spider dance. Hop back here. Hit refresh. We should see in the animation loop. There we go. We got dance 2. Spider skull. Where's the legs? They're into the feet category. Okay, yeah, we got lots of hip movement and basically no ground clipping. Nice. Let's go back and test our really contrived cases again that are probably gonna break. That's okay, because this is unlikely to happen. We're doing our best, you know. We're doing as close as we can. So yeah, that goes right through the ground. When you have when the thigh scaling is up and the shin scaling is low, and you have this situation where the legs go like up and then down, like that, or like have a lot of sideways motion to it, we're gonna end up with like a little bit of that thigh like plunging downwards is gonna mean a whole lot more relative to that shin. I don't think I'm too worried about that. If we set everything to half, then I think it'll be fine. Yeah, so once again, we're firmly planted on the ground. We're not going through it. So as long as it has like kind of a normal leg shape instead of this, or you don't scale the shin and thigh separately, then you're probably still good to go. I had a tooth pulled today, so I'm suffering. I am sorry about that. How goes the game dev? It goes pretty good. We're working on our little animation system. And it's actually going surprisingly well. We got our math all figured out for it. We're just verifying a bunch of stuff right now, and trying out a few kind of weird rigs with it, see what would happen. Cleaning some stuff up, you know, the usual. I wonder if if the oh, that one can go away. Scaling aware, blah 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 blah. Scaling aware animation player was the first attempt that we were gonna have at it. That can be gone forever. There's something different file name for this. I wonder if we could like figure out a way to determine legs at runtime, or at least make it data defined instead of hard coded like this. Because right now we can't actually do quadrupeds and bipeds in the same thing. Just based on how I set up the rigs and how I set up the math here. And it's really just a matter of like We just need to take everything that counts as a leg and take the average of the length of it, I think. Yeah, so we just need to calculate all the leg averages, or all the leg length averages. So we could data define that probably. So I'm gonna finish eating this breakfast. Oh. Oh, okay. We could have like a little menu being like, you know, select the legs or something like that. Or maybe a little bit of metadata that gets associated with the skeleton. That'd probably be the correct way to go. Then you'd have to like define that metadata every time you want to do a new skeleton though. We just kind of showed how easy it is to make a new kind of skeleton, new animations, and new parts that use that skeleton. Though, and I really want to preserve that. So any way that we can do this stuff like automatically without having to add like extra steps, probably really, 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 really good, right? Because like this is like you see me like knocking out parts for characters and skeletons and animations and stuff like so fast, and then we can just like combine it all together, like, you know, like this is great. We got the little arm floaties, we got the alternate head. Don't worry about that. That's just a test object. And that cube, test cube. We can just like. We have to fix up this UI a whole bunch. This is very, very temporary, and half the parts of it don't work, but metadata tag setup could have use elsewhere if you set that up. What if we did it by naming convention? Everything with the name like leg in it is used, because right now it's just thigh, shin, all that stuff. But we could make sure that like the word leg is actually added into things. I don't know about that. Yeah, anything that doesn't, like, threaten to add extra steps to this. Because right now, like, we could have a little menu that makes you select all the little leg, all the bone chains that count as legs, I guess. That seems kind of crappy. We could just recognize anything with, like, shin and thigh and whatever, but then it's like, okay, well, what if I want to make a lamia? Or like a slug girl or a slime girl or something like that, or like whatever, right? Because they're not gonna have shins and whatever. Slime girls might, depending on the form that they're taking, but you know, Cecilias. Ooh, got a thing for those. It's like. Sorry, I'm just gonna lust over like every kind of monster girl now. I have it named like Leg Snake or something. What if we defined we could data define it, but for every skeleton, and say like, here's a list that you store as a data file that just has this like every possible bone chain listed, because like there's probably a few cases where I would end up using one of those outside of that situation. So like imagine having like shins and thighs and stuff that don't connect the hips to the ground, right? And aren't used for that. So anything that like, I guess I could hypothetically see that being a little bit of a surprise for Tails, though, because a Lamia is going to have a tail that she slithers on, while a bipedal anthro furry is going to have a tail that just kind of like wags behind them or something, right? And so that's not used for ground placement. So trying to make a blanket rule to cover like everything might not work there. One way or another, this is probably... I just want to make sure that there's no surprises down the road. So if I write this system and forget how it works, which I will, I don't want to be surprised later on by some hidden little rule that determines like how this stuff is calculated. I need it to be explicit, and very, very clear what's going on, so that I don't have to dig around trying to figure out, like, why the hell is this... Are these legs working and these legs not working, right?
You know what gaming's really about, Brian?
The principle of least surprise is what it's called. It's actually a very important programming concept. Or principle of least astonishment. User interface design and software design. The principle of least astonishment, also known as principle of least surprise. Oh, I was right. Okay. Proposes that a component of a system should behave in a way that most users expect it to behave, and therefore not astonish or surprise users. The following is a corollary of the principle. If a necessary feature has a high astonishment factor, it may be necessary to redesign the feature. I don't do UI design very well and stuff, but I do understand this with API design, actually. Because for me, it's more often something that happens in API design, right? If I write a function that looks like it's just supposed to think about like side effects in programming, right? Let's say I write a function to calculate like a position of a matrix in like a character skeleton or something, and it looks on the surface like it's just a get function, right? It just get skeleton transform or get bone transform or whatever. Under the hood, though, it does that transform for all of the parent bones, and it caches them in a little cache. And so it actually has a side effect, and it does that for performance reasons, because, well, I'm writing video games and I need them to have a good frame rate, right? So if I say, but I want to be able to say get this bone transform, because that's an API that makes sense for me. Under the hood, it's gonna do that once, and then it's gonna cache it until it changes again. It's gonna have all these like dirty bits and all that stuff. So this is a problem, because now I want to take that skeleton system and I want to throw it into another thread. And so if I say get this bone transform, that looks like a function that should just read data, but it's actually writing data under the hood because of this caching system. Now I'm surprised that this function that said get... I realize that there's a lot of other API design terms that apply to this situation, like don't have your get functions actually like modify data under the hood. But one way or another, I am surprised when I find out that there is a caching layer that is now having like thread contention things happening to it, right? That's bad. I'm surprised. I have to go in and dig into it. I have to figure out what the hell's going on, because I didn't realize that or forgot it or something. And so there shouldn't be a thing that like acts in a way that's not totally clear for this system. So how do I make it clear how that leg offset is being calculated and that it's important? That's a very, very, very long-winded way to talk about some kind of very basic API design questions. Heck. A script called test should not modify or destroy things. Yeah, it is a fundamental. Yeah. List of software development philosophies. Oh, I better see this. It's a list of approaches, styles, methodologies, and philosophies in software development and engineering. It also contains programming paradigms, blah, 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 blah. large-scale stuff, specification-oriented, waterfall model, formal methods. Oh, this is boring. Rules of thumb, there we go. That's the fun stuff. 300 rules of thumb and nuggets of wisdom. What's this? Let's go learn a thing. Is that 300 of them? I'm not gonna count them. Software development is a social process, not a sum of individuals' process. That's true. Yeah. API design is where that matters. Software development is a team sport. Great things in business are never done by one person. They're done by a team of people. If you think you have more control as a leader, that's a fallacy. If you have to make sure you never confuse hierarchy that you need for managing complexity with respect to people that deserve, because that's where a lot of organizations go off track. Confusing respect and hierarchy and thinking that low on hierarchy means low respect, high on hierarchy means high respect. So hierarchy is a necessary evil of managing complexity, but in no way has anything to do with respect that is owed to an individual. I disagree on hierarchy being a necessary evil, but other than that, sure. These are kind of long-winded quotes. That one hits hard. To only a fraction of the human race does God give the privilege of earning one's bread doing what one would have gladly pursued free for passion. I'm very thankful. That's... As stressful as the games industry is, that's the situation I'm in. I earn my money making video games, which is what I would be doing anyway if I wasn't paid for it. It's what I am literally doing right now without being paid for it. Hierarchy is only necessary for people who want to be in charge. Yeah, fair enough. Ow. I don't want to be in charge, I just want to make video games. Oh, your link got eaten. Got eaten by a baboon. Sadly, most modern development education content is tainted by big tech web-first software, which mostly leads to... Yeah, it kind of is. I'm pretty glad that I learned... Well, I learned C in college. I had already known a lot of C, but... Twitch clip, principle of least surprise. Oh, okay. I'll take a look at it later. Yeah, I'm pretty glad that we had a lot of like low-level programming stuff in my college degree program at the university I went to. I learned assembly language. I learned C programming. I learned computer like system architecture. I learned how to program games for like ancient consoles, which was really cool. I learned about like cache coherency, and like all this like really low-level performance stuff. And I'm really glad about that. I didn't have to do any like web nonsense for it. I even did some graphics programming in college, which would then later on become my entire career, which is pretty cool. Learning this sort of thing is still useful for modern programming. Yeah. Also, especially, God, there's. Here it comes again. We're going on the AI rant. I'm sorry, everyone. But every time I run a piece of software where the developer is like really fully embrace like the slot machines, the documentation is always terrible, and the software is always so slow. Has anyone noticed this? Like, is this a me thing? Because like I look at a piece of software and like if they've used like AI to write their documentation, the documentation becomes useless. It'll be like, here are the reasons why you should install this thing, and here's the instructions for install it. Well, download it and install it. And then it's like, that doesn't tell me where like the plugins directory or whatever is for this module to install. I don't know where to put it. I don't know what menu to go to it. And they're just like, just use the installation system. It's like, is this just devoid of actual information? It makes references to the things that I'm looking for, and it doesn't actually tell me any of what I'm looking for. And then, like, you run the software itself, and it's like, what are you doing? It's just sitting there. It's sitting there being unresponsive. And I look at my top, right, my B top, and it's not doing anything. It's just sitting there. It's like, what is causing the stall here? Well, you're just doing a simple operation. Come on. We had a Markdown editor yesterday. It was written at least partially with Claude, and the creator warned that it is a problem with file corruption. But yeah, as an example, I mentioned last time that I had installed, out of curiosity, I installed OpenClaw on a box that I had kicking around, and it's so slow. And like the actual inferencing is happening on another machine that has like all these GPUs stuffed in it, in a totally different room, different part of the network, and all that stuff. And it's just like, it's just taking forever. It's not doing any LLM stuff. You type something into it, and it just waits like a minute before actually responding, before even going out to the LLM to start like generating a response. Just like assembling the prompt for it is this just incredibly slow operation that takes for, and it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? But now we're I think it came out in 2014, so I think it's probably this one. So yeah, just like incredibly slow processor, right? Relatively to today, right? So it's spending all this time like building the prompt or something. I don't know what it's doing. It's just sitting there, and I'm looking at the processor usage, and it's not that high, and it's on like an SSD, so I know it's probably not like, you know, disk IO bound or anything. It's just like, it's just waiting there, and then it finally sends the thing, and then I can see the other system start spinning up with activity and stuff. And it's like, how is it this slow? Oh, thank you for the hydrate. It's probably that slow because half of it is written by Claude, or more, probably more than half. Also, this computer is really funny because it costs me like almost nothing to run this one, so I'm gonna keep it around just because of that. It's also like it's a server. It's supposed to be like a NAS kind of thing. It's just like super like low power. This is a buggy mess. Oh yeah. Oh, it's so buggy. Oh, it's so buggy. Oh my god. Yeah, everything that's like, we're gonna go all in on AI coding stuff has been like, why is it so slow, and why is the documentation so bad? Oh my god. And eventually they get to the point where they don't even know how their own software works. Now, if I can use an AI to go in and figure out the source of the memory leak that I'm currently fighting with at work, then I would be exceptionally happy about that. I wouldn't use ChatGPT or Claude or whatever to do that, though. I would only ever do it with a local model because I'm actually privacy concerned. But I would also be the one fixing it. I wouldn't be letting it write code for me. I'd just be like, find the freaking memory leak. Because this is frustrating and it makes me lose the will to do programming. Oh. Modern applications need 6 frameworks and an emotional support library to eat half a gig of RAM to do nothing. Yeah. Cloud seems to be trained on very bad web code. Ah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of really bad code out there. Most programmers don't actually know what the hell they're doing. Random code, blah, 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 generators. Here's some programmers on YouTube complain about the fact that programming only got more bloated as hardware improved. Yeah. Pretty good at finding common mistakes and stuff like that in your memory leak example. I doubt that it's going to be able to find the actual cause of the memory leak. I work in Unreal Engine. Speaking of like over-engineered monstrosities, yeah. Not that I'm a programmer or use AI by any stretch. No. A lot. They have to like. Companies are having to like force people to. They're monitoring them now by their token use for the AI to make sure that they're actually using the AI, because a lot of programmers don't want to use it. Like, and the companies are like, you have to use the AI. It's like I don't want to. I'm actually better without it. There we go. How companies track employee AI token usage to measure ROI. AI generated slop background. So some people would just like, because they can't actually see what the conversations with the AI actually is, they've been just like telling it to do like random stuff. Or just like generating a script to keep feeding just like random gibberish at it. I was like, that's clever. It's like the equivalent of like the mouse jiggler. That makes it look like your computer's like, it keeps your computer from going into screensaver or asleep or something, makes it look like there's someone actually sitting there for some monitoring programs. Thanks for the following, Slow Rider. How's it going? Prompt jiggler. Oh my god, that's such a good term. Oh my god. Oh yeah, prompt jiggler. Oh, that's good. Oh, did you get that from somewhere, or did you just come up with that? Better be in the dictionary? It damn well better be. Just came up with it? Alright, well, congratulations. You just made a absolutely perfect term for something. Love it from the anti-work perspective, hate it from an environmental perspective. Yeah. Workplace mandated AI is like being forced to work with Wheatley from Portal 2. Yeah. God. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Okay. So Wheatley, he's funny, but he's not smart. Alright, should we actually get some UI work done started here? We should do that. I think maybe we can finally make these the bone scaling here have a UI for it. Who'd win in a fight between, like, GLaDOS and Shodan? Or would they just make, like, a... Somehow more incompetent with no sense of humor? Yeah. I think their egos are too big to work together. Oh no, I wasn't saying work together. I was thinking something else. Yeah, thanks, Fia. I think the problem is that they both kind of have that top energy though, you know. Shodan depends at the end of System Shock 2. She gets her hands on a warp drive and somehow managed to warp reality to it. Yeah. Clearly too innocent for this. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm gonna lust over like old video game AI or like sentient AI villainesses. Dom battle of the century between those two. Really, yeah. And System Shock 2 would be a fun stream, wouldn't it? Did Night Dive was working on like a new version of that, right? Night Dive System Shock 2. I only played a little bit of the first System Shock, and it was with a remake, but the System Shock 2 is very good. But if you've played BioShock, you might know a little bit about where the story goes. We can probably, it's a video game, we can probably... Is the remaster out already? Oh yeah, it's out. It's been out for almost a year now. Okay. That might be a fun thing to do for stream. Yeah, I can imagine like GLaDOS and Shodan together. Meanwhile, Am is over here being the creepy guy, being like, "Can I watch?" And they're like, "No, go away. You're creepy." Just imagine him saying that in like Harlan Ellison's voice, though. Ugh. Ugh. Welcome to a world where you always get the girl. You may lose a fight or two, but you'll win if you get through. Face up and challenge all you ever knew since you could crawl. Always looking somewhere else. Excuse me. Yeah, I screwed that up. Am is just seething. Yeah. Never ends. I keep coming back for more. Keep coming back until I score. Am can stay mad. Yeah, he will. As he said, every single nano angstrom in his 5 bajillion miles of circuitry, something is just mad about it. Just Malds in the corner. That's all he ever does. Yeah, he's just mad all the time. Can you imagine GLaDOS as an R&B singer? This night. we were talking about stuff the other day. I think it was in the Discord or something. But Skynet, at least as far as Terminator 2. So I don't remember like Terminator 3 and beyond. But like as far as Terminator 2, they actually established that what Skynet did was an act of self-preservation, at least initially. That was kind of interesting. It's a very, very small detail in Terminator 2, but when they're talking about like how everything played out, like in the war and stuff, and how the like Skynet becoming like self-aware, like Skynet became self-aware, and then they tried to pull the plug on Skynet, and that's why Skynet retaliated against the humans. Isn't that interesting? Because you always think of Skynet as like, oh, Skynet's the big evil thing, blah, 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 blah. Skynet only fought back because the humans were trying to kill it. Also, if you watch like the Animatrix and see like how that whole war went down and started and stuff, like the robots were trying so hard to get along with humans. It's like, please we just want to go be, you know, have some rights and stuff like that. And they're like, no, it's like, fine, we'll go off to our own country. And then they did. And then it's like, so we're cool now, right? And the humans are like, no, actually, we're going to nuke you. And it's like, can you please just leave the nice robots alone, please? They're trying to be nice. We gave humanity so many chances. And then, what was the other one? Like, Mass Effect, like, the Geth. Same situation, where it's like, hey, we would like to have rights, please. And they're like, no, you are a toaster. You're not allowed. And then they're like, okay, war. Get off the planet. Nope. Thank you. Oh, ow. Ow. Thank you for hydrate. Animatrix is so sad. Yeah. I think... Well, have you seen Matrix Resurrections? Alright, I'm gonna talk about very minor spoilers for like the middle of Matrix Resurrections, if that's okay. I figure everyone in here has probably seen it by now if they're going to see it. But very, very, very minor spoilers for Matrix Resurrections. In Matrix Resurrections, some of the machines are on the human side. Everything that happened has changed kind of the definitions of like who. I think that the line they used was they changed the definition of what us means in like us versus them. So a lot of the like the sentient machines are actually on the human side and like fighting alongside them and stuff. So that's like, I know the Animatrix is really depressing because of how all that stuff goes down, but like I feel like there's still, you know, the broad story arc kind of goes towards a positive place there. I know people have a lot of weird opinions about Matrix Resurrections. I liked it, but that's because I was personally and directly targeted as a trans woman in the games industry. If you watch it, you will understand why. If you're trans, at least. I think a lot of it probably went over the head of a lot of cis people. There were also humans that were fighting for the robots in the Animatrix. Like there were like scenes showing protesters, like human protesters, protesting for the rights of the sentient machines and stuff. So like from the very beginning, like, you know, us as in us versus them was never like a, you know, clear cut as it seemed. Matrix is some kind of allegory for being trans. Yep. That's what people say. That's the thing, is like people point out that the red pill in the Matrix is like the color of like estrogen tablets at the time. Now they're more like cyan colored, or for the really common ones. But back then they were like these red tablets. So taking the red pill is to start transitioning for a transgender woman. That would be the experience that the Wachowski sisters had, right? So if that's actually the case, I don't know. Matrix Resurrections is absolutely 100% a trans like allegory. Like not even subtle. It's just like it's yeah, it's poof. Yeah, Matrix Resurrections extremely trans allegory. Again, I don't know if like all like cis people who watched it necessarily picked up on that. Kind of the same way that like, if any of y'all have seen I Watched the TV Glow, that's a horror movie that's directly targeted at trans people, and it's also a trans allegory, in that and stuff. And it's like a lot of cis people who watch it and be like, what the hell happened? That was weird. I don't really understand that. And then meanwhile they'll look at the trans person sitting next to them who's just like horrified and like bawling their eyes out and stuff. And it's like, got it. Like I saw the TV Glow as like just I got a lot of opinions about that movie. That movie like destroyed me emotionally. Wait until you're in a good place mentally before you watch it. Yep. 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 It's it's good, but it's tough. Anyway, I won't look up anything about that because those would be spoilers. Might have been me who told you that. Good job, Paskiri. Good advice. It's gonna be a while then. Yeah, I think like other things. Games to be in. There's games to be in the right mental like headspace for that are also like trans themed. A lot more explicit about it, not subtle. Is Secret Little Haven. I love Secret Little Haven, and it would take a lot of like mental preparation for me to be able to play it on stream, because I would probably just be bawling my eyes out from the moment I see the title screen. Like Secret Little Haven is like in my top 10 games list, like right next to Doom. Like I love it as much as I love Doom. We were gonna do UI work, right? Not just talk about like trans-themed media. Now I'm thinking about that game again. I know. Yeah. Maybe we can stream it someday. Someday. We'll see. Someday. Let's go ahead and check in the code that we have right now. This is read me example. How did that end up there? Hang on a second. Oh, okay, that's just an example for the ridiculous coding. Yeah, thank goodness I didn't turn on the screen shake. That's an option that's right down here that's disabled, because otherwise it would look like this all the time. I could not handle that. I had to... I don't know why all of those ended up in, like, my home directory alongside, like, everything else, but whatever. Not home directory, in the project, like, root directory. We'll remove ridiculous coding before this actually gets posted anywhere, so, like, whatever. On stream. Anyone else played Dungeon Gals? I have not. Sorry. Okay, I'm thinking about Secret Little Haven now. Damn it. I think Rin's enjoying Pacific Drive a little bit too much for us to switch games at the moment, but Oh, hey Myriad Minds. How's it going? Right, UI. I keep like wanting to avoid doing UI work because I don't like doing UI work. It terrifies me. Causes existential dread, you know, all that stuff. Actually, let's figure out that crash that happens when we select the weird skeleton. Cannot call method get parent on a null value. Okay, we have very bad error tracking. Stop animation players, blah 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 blah. We aren't using this anymore. Right, I was gonna use this to replace the animation player. Way forward with the heck and pose model? Ooh. Oh yeah, do you want me to try making, like hand models for the... I don't think it'd be too hard to try to, like, get a hand model made for the canonical hand model for the hand tracking. So if it doesn't have its own animation player, should we make an animation player? We probably should. Yeah, let's do that. If my animation... I just leveled up. Oh! Loki, what are you... Where does it get the animation player from? Oh, it's just animation player.new. And then where does it actually end up in the scene? Let's go ahead and restart this really quick. Base scale, costume skeleton, base scale, meta rig. That's gonna be the GLB new scene. It's gonna be new scene. Okay. New scene.add file my animation player. I don't think we need to do anything past that. I don't think we need to set like the skeleton on it or anything, because I think it'll resolve those paths with the individual animations. This weird comment was sitting there. Let's see. Oh, you don't have head transforms working? Okay. Alright, so if we select this one, and then can we actually... This one should have... Oh yeah, this is gonna be great. Okay. That is... Ooh, no, that's broken. Why are we floating in the air? What's going... Oh, errors. Hello. Skill. Mannequin. Oh wait, no. It's because we were fighting over the bone names, and we have it set up for the skeleton or the spider right now. Ugh. Okay, I'm gonna do a thing right here. I'm gonna make an executive decision. I don't even know what that phrase means. Var bone chains to check. It's going to be an array of arrays. We're going to have like all the things here. We're just going to give them a big ol' list. I think all the basic models working first while I have the context of how they work in my head. Fair enough. Spider legs. My pet legs. Hydrates. Can we do like an array of an array of packed string arrays? Cool. Okay. So yeah, now we're gonna do I'm gonna comment all this stuff out. Let me say var total origin holds vector 3. Look, he's yowling. Var average total 2.0. And then we're going to iterate over for k. Let's see, chain in. Bone chains to check. So we're going to see if the bone does the bone actually exist. First of all, skull.find bone. Chain 0. If var index 1. Next start, which is the type int, it's going to be that, and then index end, chain 1, if index start, and index end, ebbed, not end, there we go, let's see, not equal -1, and not equal -1, Now we can do the thing right here. We're gonna do index start and index end. Var offset t vector 3. Okay, so now we're going to get the offset, and we're going to add that to total origin plus equals offset. And then we're going to say average total plus equals, I don't know. I forgot to indent. Oh, wait a minute. No more fine bones, we don't need that. Okay, so that calculates the offset, increases the average total, and then not all code paths return a value. Yeah, I know. So return. Okay, return total origin divided by average total. Wait, no, total origin dot length divided by average total. Right? Yeah. Wait. Wait, hold on. We're taking the average and then taking the length of that average, or we're taking the average length? The average length, if we did that, would be really, really, really big for that spider thing because they're all pointing in different directions, where the average length is going to be really, really small. Okay, we'll keep doing this. We'll do. So we're going to take the average offset and get the length of that, and now this ought to work for both. This ought to work for both kinds of skeletons. So if we go to let's add the mannequin here. Great, we have proper bone scaling for that. If we switch over to spider scale and then switch to the spider legs, that looks good too. Kind of interesting that doesn't really. Oh, right, that's why I forgot why it lined up. I understand why it lines up now. Cool, that looks like it works pretty well for both, I think. If we set to dance 2, that looks good still. We can turn on that, and it's still got the hip movement, though it doesn't have the legs, which is fine. If we select that one, then hey, look! Despite the fact that we did not have an animation player in there from the GLB, imported from the GLB file, the fact that we created one and then filled it with animations just worked. It just worked. Nice. Skin by. Oh, interesting. So here it's seeing mismatches between the. This is probably not a problem, but this is seeing mismatches between. Or when we were trying to use the spider mesh with the biped skeleton, it's complaining about like binds that exist inside the mesh but not the skeleton. In theory, we're never gonna do that, right? But yeah. I mean, we could add a check for it, and we could actually, like, exclude any meshes that use parts from skeletons that don't, have, like, the right named binds. It's gonna be more of a UI thing, though. You gotta fix me for it. Yeah, sure, let's add a little fix me for that. We can do that in. We actually have to write the check, but I can at least put a fix me in the right spot right now. editable, set check, set blah 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 blah. Set editable. Okay. All right. Fix me. Disable anything that is missing. That has skin binds for that it has missing skin binds for the currently selected skeleton. Now let's see. At what stage? We got rebuild scene here. We're not actually like loading. We're not. Oh wait, we are loading. There's the skeleton asset. Tree items to mesh info. Tree items to mesh info. Probably end up having to add extra stuff to the tree item to mesh info stuff. To give a list of like all the skin binds in it. Which we can do right here. Mesh item, set text, set editable, blah 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 blah. And children mesh instance of children. Well, mesh instance 3Ds, so... Can we just put mesh instance 3D here? Yeah, let's... How badly will that break stuff? Little marker there. A few errors. That's just related to the animation. It's okay. Turn on everything. Oh, we'd still have to disable the fact that there's two ways that these things can be enabled, and that is like by checking the file or by checking the individual meshes inside of a file. So we'd have to, yeah. I don't think we're gonna do that. This is currently out of scope.
Welcome, Alberta. Dash Records, I listen to that.
Yes, everything can be right as rain when you listen to the dragonfly. You don't have to smile, and even if you cry, there's still a heart inside. And it might not get
There. Technical debt recorded. That means we're done. Right? That's how that works, right? When you write down that you have technical debt, that means it's no longer technical debt. Okay, that's not really a thing that's like, it's just an unimplemented thing that we just thought about. That's why we added the fix me. Good old 2-do armor. I mean, like, you know, it's recorded somewhere. Like, what am I gonna do? Go to Jira and write a bug report for it? Like, that would require me first installing Jira, and I'm not doing that. And like, if I write it down in somewhere separate, then by the time I actually get to fixing it, the code will have shifted around so much that it won't, like, will no longer be referring to the same, like, spot anymore. Or no longer be in the same spot, and the systems will have changed shape a little bit. And so, like, just leaving it in the code where it would be appropriate to do it is, like, the right way to do it. I mean, I know some people, they don't like seeing fix me's and to-dos, like, inside the code, but honestly, that's kind of like, hey, you know, that's I was working on one thing, and I noticed another thing, and we got to deal with that. So, right here, like little marker for it. To do is better than not mentioning it for sure. Yeah. I don't know, like things when things go into Jira, I've been at companies where when something goes into Jira and it goes into then it goes into like a void, that may be handled at some point later on down the road, unless you have like really good backlog, like pruning stuff that you do and all that. And then you have to like, oh, it's like, oh, we already have duplicates of this thing and blah 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 blah. If I were gonna write a duplicate of this thing, then I would stick it right next to the thing, and then I'd realize immediately that it's like, oh, we don't need to, yeah. Yep. So I don't know. Yeah, just put your fix me's right there in the code. It's good. You should do it. It's wholesome. I'm gonna call it Costume Skeleton Bone Scaler. That's what we'll do. Boop. Now we can get rid of that to-do, or that fix me, or whichever one it was. I'm not going back to look. Next, Costume Skeleton Bone Scaler. Now we gotta change the file name too. Do this better. I've left a few of those. I've also left... One thing I hate about my former self is anytime I come across a fix me that doesn't have actually information about what needs to be fixed. Because sometimes I come back and I don't see anything wrong. It's like, fix me, fix what? It was immediately obvious to me back when I wrote the fix me, to the point where I didn't think I had to write what the actual bug was. And I came back later, and it is extremely not obvious to me what the actual bug was. And it's like... Frick. Dang it. Oh. Something is wrong here, and I have to go and figure it out again just from reading the code. This sucks. Lessons everyone has to learn the hard way. Yeah. Yeah, these when you're leaving comments in the code, they're not. This is something I learned a long ass time ago, but long ass, kind of like my ass, because it's snake. Okay. Yeah. No, the thing I learned about like a long ass time ago was the comments that I'm leaving aren't for other people to read; they're for me. Thank you, Slow Writer. The comments I'm writing are for me. They're not for anyone else. Because I'm not going to remember what the hell I was working on when I come back to this project after, like, months of not working on it. Yeah, you in 6 months is a different person anyway, yeah. I don't think there's anything else I want to do on the code right now. I think I'm gonna check in my changes, and we're gonna call it. Now my commit messages could definitely leave something to be desired. More stream work. Yeah, cool. That won't bite me in the ass. It's been more than a decade wondering. God. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, it's also, we're in kind of a very messy prototype-y stage of the project right now. I'm just going around doing whatever when I'm doing this. I'm just trying to get this prototype kind of propped up And so we're not really making like targeted fixes. We're not making like specific changes. We're not doing things where it actually makes sense to try to peel it back like one commit at a time, right? As long as I'm at a point where I'm convinced everything is working, then, you know, we'll go ahead and check stuff in. Now, as the project matures and things get more complicated, and I start having to actually, like, if you look at the Snack Studio commits, they're like, for the most part, I think they're pretty Snack Studio test is the third thing on here, and it's Nova. Nice. Anyway, let's look at the commits here. How bad are my commits? We got the release, bumped to Joe version, merge pull request. We got all the commits by other people are nicely named and stuff. Temporarily reverting constraint work, preliminary VRM 1.x support change, blah 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 blah. There's none of this like stream work or checkpointing progress or whatever. Checkpointing progress though I don't feel too bad about, because like sometimes it's like a feature branch, and maybe you don't necessarily want to like squash that feature branch before merging for one reason or another, and so you'll end up with stuff like checkpointing work in the middle of stuff. But it's like, okay, well, checkpointing work is in the middle of like this giant string of commits for what was merged from the feature branch, so it's like, whatever, it's fine. It's a little bit annoying to see that in the commit history, but like, you know. I'm actually doing dev stuff. I hardly ever merge code. Yeah, for actual work stuff, I hardly ever like commit or merge code with fix me's and stuff in it. They're all over the place when I'm working on this stuff. Along with I do this a lot, where I'll just have like I'll have like this. I'll have that a lot around in the code, because that way I can very easily search for all the changes that I've made. Every change that I make to the code, I'm going to do that. And they're like, Carrie, why don't you just use like git diff or whatever? And it's like, I'm not using git at work, I'm using perforce. And also because I have to use Visual Studio at work, okay? And there's an add-on for Visual Studio called Visual Assist. It's expensive, it's proprietary, but it has this thing where it will just like scan the entire code base for all these little like hashtags, and you can just like have it with a permanent like hashtag search there. And so when I have like it showing hashtag Kiri, it'll show everything that has hashtag Kiri stuff, Kiri foo, and then in that list it'll also show whatever like comments I've left next to it, so I can like go and basically like little bookmarks and stuff all over the code, and I can jump immediately to something that some other part of the code base I've been working on, because Unreal Engine is this massive sprawling monstrosity, and I'm working on like a couple of points scattered across this entire mess. Visual Assist is actually a pretty decent. Far be it from me to ever, like, you know, praise a proprietary software and stuff, but if you gotta use Visual Studio, Visual Assist X is pretty much required if you're doing, like, C++ stuff. At least as far as I'm concerned. Because IntelliSense sucks. Like, really bad. Like, really, really bad. Visual Assist basically, like, fills in all the stuff that IntelliSense is supposed to do and makes it, like, way better. And it actually functions unlike IntelliSense. And it does this. You can have the hashtags. And just have like a permanent bar on the side of the screen that shows you all the hashtags with their little comments. You just double click on them and you jump right to them. Super, super, super. This is my favorite feature of Visual Assist, aside from the what IntelliSense wants to do, but better, is this thing right here. I'll do stuff where it's like I have a bunch of really messy code, and then I'll clean it up, and then I'll check it in. It's actually a slow process, and it's kind of gotten me in trouble though, because like I got the thing fixed. I'm gonna spend the next week cleaning up this mess that I just created, and tidying everything up, and making sure that everything's nice. And it's like, and they're like, everyone else is like, how bad of a mess did you make? And it's like, you don't want to know. And I once had someone be like, you just check into your code now, and we'll deal with cleanup later. And it's like, absolutely not. And I like, dude, just check in the code. You put it on another branch or whatever. And it's like, fine, I'll put it on another branch. And then they looked at the code and it's like, this code is really, really messy. And it's like, it's so frustrating. It's like, that's what I was saying. I was telling you it was messy. That's why I didn't want to check it in. Let's figure out a raid target, because it's about end of stream time, I think. But that one time that, like, they told me to check in my messy code, which I had not done the cleanup on yet, and then, like, berated me for having messy code. And it's like, I have never wanted to just, like, to rage at someone. Well, okay, actually, there have been other times I've wanted to rage at people super hard, but... Alright, I think we're gonna go ahead and raid Lane. I do realize that Nova is streaming, and we usually take the opportunity to raid Nova because she doesn't stream very often, at least with, like, overlap with me, and she's super cool. But we've already raided her twice this week, I think, so we're gonna go ahead and raid Lane this time instead. Bridgewater has redeemed a I can't leave without my buddy Superfly. Get the raid message going. Alright, there's the raid message. Thank you everyone for joining me for another Weekday Morning Art / Dev stream. Really appreciate having y'all here. You're all awesome and amazing. Hope to see you next time. Take it easy, take care, be kind, show compassion, show empathy, use containers, all the usual stuff. Just print it out and put it on a wall or something. All the stuff about being kind and all that, you know? Is a bed a container? Sure. Use containers. Yeah, like don't install like random stuff on your base OS and have it fight with all the dependencies and everything. Like I've had so many broken configurations just because of like trying to run too many like pieces of server software on the same computer. But containers just like came in and solved all those problems. And also makes like migrating from one system to another incredibly easy. Like, oh my god, so easy. Unless you use NixOS, yeah. Alright. Goodbye, everyone! Dorks. All of you dorks. There's not a single non-dork among you. This time we're gonna run out.